Mr. Chairman, distinguished guests of the media, members of the club, and particularly all former players and mentors of Ballyhale Shamrocks, you're very welcome tonight here to Carroll's Hotel for what promises to be a great celebration of hurling. So please put your hands together for everyone who turned up here tonight. If you don't know, tonight is the first step of a 5-year program within the club, and there's a lot of work after going on behind the scenes, and we're just ready to get the ball rolling here tonight. I suppose in Ballyhale Shamrocks, we've had a lot of success over the years, and we're not one to blow our own trumpets, but tonight I think we're allowed to do that. I'm not going to talk about the success of the club. An external guest here, Mr. Ned Quinn, might recap on the success of the Shamrocks Club. I suppose the whole thing is geared towards a magnificent prize, and that will be taking place on July the 21st, where a lucky club will get to spend a day with Ballyhale players, present county hurlers, former county hurlers, and receive the best of advice and expertise, and they'll be well fed and looked after for the day. So that's July the 21st, mark it into your diaries. So I suppose we hope to bring you a night of nostalgia, and we'll go down memory lane and we'll have a bit of crack as well. Now you're going to be sick of me by the end of the show, so without further ado, I'll hand you over to the current chairman of the club, Mr. John Keneally.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Cha has taken most of my thunder, but I'd like to just welcome everybody here tonight on behalf of the club. As you all know, it has been a small club, like it's very hard to run it. Like a prime example is I was actually up in Dublin there a number of months ago, and I was talking to a chairman of a club, and he said to me he was welcoming such a big club from County Kilkenny as Ballyhale Shamrocks. So I slightly asked him how many members he had, and he told me they were a small club in Dublin. He said they had only about 2,500 members. So I found it very hard to explain to him that they had more members than we had people in the parish of Ballyhale. So tonight is the first, like we said, the first step on a 5-year plan. Hopefully everything goes according to plan. You're just hoping and nervous about everything, but hopefully it will. We're trying to do our grounds up, bring facilities into the parish of Ballyhale that are equal with anything else in Ireland, to be quite honest about. We have the hurlers, hopefully we can get the facilities. There's a number of people, just the committee behind this, I personally like to thank them. They took it on board there a number of months ago. It's not easy, you have to come up with different ideas, so they're running on this one. They have our full support, everyone, so hopefully it pans out on everything. That's about it. I'll hand you over now back to Chair again. So I thank everybody for coming tonight, the media, the county board, everyone else. So I hope you enjoy the night. So thanks very much.
Now I'm just actually going to ask Ned Quinn to come up and say a few words. So please put your hands together for Ned Quinn.
First of all, that I'm delighted and honoured to be here tonight on this special occasion for the Shamrocks Club. I suppose tonight you're launching a unique and ambitious fundraising draw, the proceeds of which will go towards purchasing the additional ground for the club adjacent to their current grounds in the village of Ballyhale. Many of us from other clubs and inside Kilkenny and outside Kilkenny have often asked each other how or what is it that has made the Shamrocks Club so successful from the time they were formed right up to the present day. How come they have continued to be successful over such a long period of 46 years? And I've come to the conclusion anyway that it is the passion for hurling that exists in the club and the desire to be the best they can be on and off the field. And when you think about it, Club in 72 without any land, no dressing rooms. I dare to suggest no money, but I'm not sure about that. But that didn't inhibit them. They drove on, inspired by the club leadership of the time, and success quickly followed. Junior, intermediate, and then on into senior. And by my reckoning, the club has competed in the Kilkenny Senior Championship for 42 years. The first 2 years were spent in getting into the Senior Championship, and then small hiatus later on, he dropped out for 2 years. But you know, in the 42 years that you've competed in it, you've contested 21 county finals, an average of 1 every 2 years. You've won 15 of those, which makes it an average of 1 every 3 years. And you're not satisfied with that, you went on and won 6 Club All-Irelands. That places the club at the top of the Roll of Honour in the All-Ireland Senior Club Championship. It can be said here tonight that by a distance, you have been the most successful club in Kilkenny and Ireland during the time of your existence, the 46 years that you have existed. And that didn't happen by accident. Credit is due to many people for that. I already referred to the founding fathers and to the people who have acted as officers of the club down through the years, each of them given their time and their talents to further developing the club, purchasing the field in the village. I can recall going to that field as a young boy to hurling matches. I always remember it as a kind of an L-shaped field. It's not an L-shaped field anymore. It's 2 fine pitches, walkway, dressing rooms, electronic scoreboard. But you're not satisfied with that either, and that's the desire that you have. Also, like down through the years, look at the hurlers that you've produced. As I said already, winning all those titles for your club. You're also top of the Roll of Honour in under-21 hurling in Kilkenny. You know, we thought when you won the 3 in a row to never be done again, and then you came along and won a 4 in a row, and actually you were in 5 finals in a row at that time. I presume sometimes you take that for granted in Ballyhale, but when you come from where I come from, and when you come from where lots of other people come from, you look on with awe at what's going on here. As your chairman said, a small village. I actually drove the other day on the old road. I don't know where the parish boundary begins or ends, but I started taking notice just below Knockmylan. And I ended up in Flood Hall 8.5 minutes later. So that's the size of the parish, like it's right through in 8.5 minutes. And like along the way at Knockmylan, where there was a team, you know, on down by Castlebanny. I wonder if you went up there and went around the circuit, come out by the school, how many All-Stars and All-Ireland medals would you pass along the way, and mention of the school, of course, it has been front and centre of everything that you have done in Ballyhale. I also want to refer, of course, to the outstanding contribution by players from Ballyhale Shamrocks to our county teams. You know, we're proud of the fact that Kilkenny are top of the Roll of Honour as senior under 21 and minor level, and so many players from this club have played a huge part in all those successes. I was discussing it with your double All-Ireland winning captain earlier, Liam Findlay. I said you had 7 All-Ireland win. You had the All-Ireland winning senior captain 7 times. No, he said 9 times. He was counting Jimmy Welch, of course. Well, fair enough. I suppose if you had Frank Cummins, you'd probably have 10. But anyway, to have 7 officially from the club, 7 times an All-Ireland senior winning captain. You've also had All-Ireland minor and under-21 winning captains. Multiple All-Ireland winners right across the grades, particularly at senior level. And in more recent years, you've had the Hurler of the Year on 5 occasions. Michael Fennelly, TJ Reid, and Henry Shefflin on 3 occasions. And of course, Henry is the only player in the GA who has 10 senior All-Ireland medals. So that's an amazing story, an amazing history in a relatively short period of 46 years. And it's wonderful to see that that passion and desire continues to the present day. You're not sitting back and resting on your laurels and saying, look, we've done all that now, look, we're happy with what we have. No, the present committee and your present development committee, I want to drive it on again. And purchasing the field, as I said already, located right beside your grounds, right in the middle of the village of Ballyhale. It's just ideal for the club. And I hope everybody in the club gets behind this straw. And as your chairman said, not only do you want to purchase the field, you want to develop. I have to say, I noticed another 8-time All-Ireland winner coming in the door there now, Frank Cummins, so I think we should. Now, if he had played with the Shamrocks, I wonder what kind of a record would we be talking about. But anyway, you know, what you have, you still have that strong desire, that passion, and I know, I'm absolutely certain that what you're beginning to develop now, the purchase of the field is phase 1, and the ambitious plans that Tommy Phelan outlined to me some weeks ago that you're going to develop down there, I am absolutely certain that will come to fruition, and that those facilities will be there, and they will attract not only the present generation of people in the parish to play our games, but the generations yet to come. I wish you every success with what you're undertaking, And thank you again for your invitation to be here to speak to you tonight.
Thanks for your kind words, Ned. And I suppose Ned must be one of the most successful chairmans ever in GA history. I maybe you've kept count of all the All-Irelands, Ned. But well done. Thanks for those words. Just Noreen, have you a new boyfriend there, or who's that lad? Yeah, Will. Okay. We'll move on. So our first three guests on the couch tonight, we're going to introduce them all together. They all need no introduction as local lads, local characters, and very successful hurlers. So please put your hands together for Liam Fennelly, Paul Shefflin and Tom Coogan. You're all very welcome here tonight, lads. Man, Paul, you're looking well. So just to start off there, I want to start with Liam. I suppose you'd have to start with the Fennelly. I mean, I was looking at a photo the other day, doing a bit of research of, I think it was 1990, Ballyhale Shamrocks were playing against Ballybrown, is that correct? And I counted 7 Fennellys on the team. So Jesus, that's half the team, like. So I was just wondering, Liam, of all the brothers, which brother, apart from yourself, was the best hurler, do you think, the most skillful and talented?
Easy answer to that. It has to be the oldest. That's Michael, because he probably taught us all we knew. So I suppose that's the easy answer to give in fairness.
I know Michael hurled Masters, I think. Is it over 50s or 40s or something? But did you ever hurl Masters, Liam?
No, I didn't. I was too young.
Too young. We've a couple of other lads on the couch here, could be heading for Masters. Paul Shefflin there. Is the rumour true? Have you been regraded this year?
I'm on the way down, Cha, all right. I might meet you down there as well. I see you played a few games last year yourself.
Yeah. No, well, Paul, I suppose you had a lot of influential brothers as well over the years, and which brother would have bullied you the most? Off the hurling pitch now.
Probably Henry, I suppose, yeah, would be.
And I know John and Tommy and Henry, you hurled in different eras, but if you all played together on the pitch, if a row broke out, who do you think would back you up first?
Definitely John, Tommy and Henry be gone the other way anyway, they didn't.
I think that's fair enough. Tom, just thinking back to memory, I remember I was it was a 1998 minor county final, correct me if I'm wrong, and I was sitting beside an lad, and the lad said, Jesus, that half back is having a great game, and I think it turned out you were man of the match the same day. Have you a recollection of that?
It was 98 anyway, I know that for sure. It's 97, I think, but I would have given man of the match to Henry, actually. I thought he was brilliant as well that day. But yeah, a long time ago now, and I'm pushing on. I actually played with the great Ger Fennelly and the great Michael Fennelly in a junior A year as well. That was the biggest honour I had that year. They're great men, and men we looked up to from the time we were young lads. Yeah, I remember Henry had a great game that day. That was probably the day he came onto the radar of maybe the senior county team. But just over back to Liam then. Liam, when you were growing up, let's say apart from your brothers and stuff, like who did you look up to? Who did you admire most as a hurler?
Well, I suppose at that time you had the great Kilkenny team of the 70s, I suppose, starting off, and Frank Hummels, naturally enough, was from the parish, so we all kept a good eye on what Frank was doing, and naturally enough, he was all our hero. But going back before that, then you had the like of Eddie Kerr, but most of all, I suppose, Jimmy Dial was a fella that really impressed me when I was a kid, watching Jimmy Dial, the way he hurled, and how skillful he was as a left-hander, and I suppose he was the most skillful of all till our own TQE came on the scene. So definitely he impressed me. I got to know him later on in life, and a lovely man he was as well.
Very good, Liam. just back to Tom there. Tom, have you, over the years of all the success, I know you were captain in 2007 with Ballyhale. Have you a personal favourite moment hurling with Ballyhale over the years?
Jesus.
Don't laugh at Tom, all right?
Yeah, well, sure, look, Shah, we had a few great days, I suppose. And personally, myself, the last county final we won was, for me, was a great day because I was probably 35, I think Bob was 44. Cummins was 43, and Henry was 40. So, yeah, no, I think the last one we won was great because I think everybody thought we were kind of gone and thought that the ship had sailed for the Shamrocks and we were on the way down. And I think everyone threw their shoulder to the wheel that year, and we went on to go on and win another Club All-Ireland. I think that was probably a special one. The first one is always special as well, for sure, but I think that last one, kind of we knew that we probably were coming back a bit and we were slipping a bit, all right, but we really towed the line that year and everyone put it in and everyone going at it flat out, and we didn't look back till we were in Grove Park, and that was brilliant.
Very good. Paul, I suppose that you've many highlights over the years as well. Would you like to pick a favourite moment where you really thought you reached your peak?
You've been telling me I reached my peak chat around 16, 17, so I have to go back a good bit then if that was the case. No, I suppose, similarly to that, I suppose, as Tom said, the last Club All-Ireland meant a lot, I suppose. Just, we hadn't been really going that going that well the previous few years, and then the previous year we looked like we were nearly finished, and to come back then and win a Club All-Ireland probably meant a lot then as well.
Man, well done, Paul. And Liam, just another question there. What are the main differences between, let's say, the old Shamrocks team that won 3 All-Irelands and maybe the current Shamrocks team that won 3 All-Irelands? Could you, I suppose hurling is a bit different maybe in the 2 eras, but what would you think are the main differences?
I suppose it's hard to say there's any difference really, because at the end of the day, you don't win a Club All-Ireland unless you have good players in every line. And especially when it comes down to, I've seen over the years with the club level in the winter time, it always comes down to top class forwards. And both probably teams had that, because it's far more difficult to score in the winter conditions, and games tend to be closer than they would be in summer conditions. So I always felt that anyone that ever won the Club All-Ireland had a top class forward, and over the years we probably had more than one top class forward, and I think that's what pushes where we are. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, will you please put your hands together for our 3 first guests there, Liam Fennelly, Tom Coogan and Paul Shefflin. Now, before we launch our video, before that, we just want to talk to some audience members here, because fair play to the committee, they've collected gathered a lot of important people here tonight, and as you can see, people travelled from afar. Frank Cummins came in there. I think Frank Hoolan's on the way as well. But I suppose you have to start here with Joe Dunphy. Joe is probably the engine behind the conveyor belt in Ballyhale over the years. And Joe, I suppose it must be very satisfying to see a young lad in 5th or 6th class end up in Croke Park, or winning a hurler of the year like the lad behind you, or winning any sort of award.
I would say, I've led a charmed life that I had nearly 40 years in Ballyhale Parish, and from early on we were lucky, we had success, and the amount of young hurlers that came through, and I'm not just talking about the lads who played with the county, but all the young lads that were out in that field every day looking for me to go, even if it was raining. It meant an awful lot. There were a great crowd of lads, and yeah, a huge success. I mean, I never thought, as a young lad looking at good hurlers from this parish and other parishes indeed, I never thought that I'd end up a school teacher who had a man in school, the man behind me here, with 10 All-Ireland medals, and a great man. But I would still say all the lads were all great men, and they still are all great men, and the Shamrocks are still going strong, which it's a wonderful thing for me at this stage of my career, to be still able to go and see you there and meet you and be as proud of you as I am, and I am really proud of every one of you.
Very well said, Joe. And I suppose one of my fondest memories growing up would have been the 1998 Fail in a Gale Your over is there down in Enniscorthy. So I mean, a lot of the lads that won that stayed together all the way up through the years. So well done, Joe. And I just we're going to have a word here with Noreen Malone. Noreen, I know your father John was heavily involved in starting up the club. So have you any memories of John in the early 70s or trying to co-found the club?
Oh yeah, there was they held a lot of meetings. As someone said, it was the Good Friday Agreement. I said I think it went on to the kind of Christmas, New Year, and it went on there were a lot of meetings and a lot of negotiation, and fair play. Like to I think it was Father Heaslip at the time was the man that kept them all together and saw and had the sight to see it. Like I mean, like there had been so many teams, as you say, people had played for Carrickshock and played for Knockmile and Ballyhale and Knocktofer. And it was wonderful, like that someone had the foresight to get them all together. And like I think like they would have, it was beyond their wildest dream. They would never have expected it to turn out as well as it did. But like fair play, they done it, and they've gone from strength to strength. And I mean, I suppose as you say, the first year they won junior, and then they went intermediate, and they went on to become senior very quick. And I mean, it was wonderful. Like it was.
And John was president for many years, wasn't he, as well?
He was, yeah. He was the first chairman, and then he was president for a long, long time. He was a selector, I think, before that from time to time. I remember being dragged out to the middle of the field at half time to hurlers when I was only knee high to a grasshopper. So I've been there a long time, dragged around the field, I think.
Thanks for that, Noreen. Now we have a lot of original members of the club here. I think we have Michael Hine here. Michael, would you have been an original treasurer? Is that correct? Or
Francie Houlihan and myself were the first treasurers.
Before that, like I suppose, did it take long to get the ball rolling with Ballyhale Shamrocks?
Yeah, well, sure. Like the history of the thing, went back to the mid '60s. When Knocktofer people looked after the junior team and people in Ballyhale looked after the underage, under 16 minor and under 14. And in '65, Knocktofer won the junior championship. They went up senior. Ballyhale won the minor, the A minor, beating James Stevens. So as a result, there was an awful lot of hurlers in the parish. And that probably led to the split in a way then, that both Ballyhale thought they had enough hurlers for a junior team, and Knocktofer thought they had enough hurlers for a junior team. And for the few years then, both of them went their separate ways.
And would it be fair to say then that Knocktofer probably had more experienced players, and then Ballyhale had the up-and-coming players? Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, that's very true, yeah. There were a few of us, like myself and a few other lads, we were Knocktofer end of it, like. But an awful lot, most of the minor teams, we were actually in 3 minor county finals at 65, 66 and 67. And so most of those younger fellas were on the Ballyhale side. And in fairness to them, they were rightly taught, they had enough players for a junior team. And obviously, you're only putting out 15 on a parish team. And if you had 30 players, there was going to be a little bit of, who was going to be left off. So that's how the split came,
Very good. Thanks for that, Michael. I just go over here to Carmel Harrington. Carmel, you were the first official PRO of the club and the first female member of the club. Is that correct?
True, that's true, yeah. But you see, Daddy Kevin Fennelly literally hijacked me into the position as PRO, and he gave me great instructions that if you brought 12 hurls on the field and 6 slitters, you came back with 12 hurls and 6 slitters, or woe betide your head in the evening time. But anyway...
Just Carmel, were you more than PRO? You were kind of a nurse or a doctor as well, were you?
I was all rolled into one, and it came in very handy this evening as well, so it did. But anyway, that's another story. Yes, I patched up heads, legs, arms, fingers. It didn't matter. The lads were looked after, and there was no such thing as health or safety around at the time. Thanks be to God, because otherwise there might have been a court case about... Anyway, we enjoyed every minute of it. And into the bargain, along with Michael and Michael Phelan, I helped to organise the 25th celebrations in Langton's Hotel. and that was in 1997. And the then president was Peter Quinn, and he came down and was our special guest that night. And then in 1992, he landed by helicopter, and he officially opened the pitch in Ballyhale. So that caused great excitement to see this helicopter landing on the second pitch. I enjoyed every minute I spent with the boys. They were great.
Very well said, very well said, Carmel. I actually remember Peter Quinn landed on the helicopter in 1992 in the field. So that was a great day for the club. Now we are going to play our launch video, and it'll be projected onto the big screen. So we'd like to thank all of the actors and actresses involved. It was a long day, but well worth it. All right, roll it there.
Once again, I'm here in the village of Ballyhale, reporting on yet another attempt to discover the reason why Ballyhale Shamrocks is so special, why they can still produce the quality hurlers that they've been producing for decades. You have no idea what lengths some people will go to discover what is it that makes Ballyhale so special. Is it the water that they drink? Is it the DNA? Many have tried in the past to discover the reason. We may never know. What's going on?
It's time to talk. None of you are leaving this room until I know everything.
There's no secret to the success here in Ballyhale Shamrocks, only plenty of hard work. We've great plans for a new initiative to support the community with new grounds, so please get behind it and come visit some of the stars of camogie and hurling here behind me.
So the good news is you don't have to go breaking the law, because your team, your club can indeed be hurling training with the Ballyhale Stars. All you got to do is log on www.hurlingwiththestars.com, and your team, or indeed your club, could be training with the wonderful hurlers from Ballyhale Shamrocks. If you're not in, so do sign up. This is Marty Morrissey reporting indeed from Ballyhale. You're now on the road to hurling success.
Please put your hands together for the Ballyhale Shamrocks launch video. Just we have a bit of a uninvited guest here tonight, so we just wonder, who's this man here? We need security. Hold on now. Hold on. We need the guards. Bring him off. Bring him off. Get out. All sort of uninvited gets here. Get rid of that lad. Okay, folks, we are going to go on to our second group on the couch here. I just think I have to get rid of that lad first. Hold on now. The next three guests on our couch here tonight for a brief chat need no introduction either. I suppose one is just known as King Henry. Number two, former legend Ger Fennelly. And number three then, we also have Sean Reid. Put your hands together for our three guests. You too, no? Don't worry about it. Yeah. All right, don't worry about it. You're all very welcome, lads. Henry, you're training tonight, we are.
No training, Chad, we called it off because of the initiative, so...
That's dedication.
We have to come here. I don't know why they got Marty Morrissey to do it. They should have got you to do the MC. You're so good at it, bye.
I know Marty is the man. Marty can dance. Henry, I suppose to start with you, everyone knows about, you know, your success and everything. When you were growing up, who did you admire as a hurler?
Yeah, well, I suppose there was a lot of hurlers to admire. So, to be honest, because Kenny probably weren't as successful back then, when I was growing up, it was more Ballyhale Shamrocks. So, for me, obviously, Liam was captain. So, of course, from a very young age, you see someone going up to lift the Liam McCarthy Cup, and that's someone you look up to and aspire to be. And Ger, obviously, you know, I suppose he was the free taker for Ballyhale. He was the one probably with the lovely gold helmet, was it, Ger? Was it a gold helmet? And probably not too many people were wearing helmets back then, was there? No. So Ger stood out because of that. So there were so many, Chad. There was so many to look up to.
And Ger, just looking back on the Ballybrown match in 1990, just on the score sheet it said that you scored, was it 1-2 or 1-5 or something? 1-5. And how did you get the goal? I'm just wondering, because it was a crucial. Did you win by 3 points in the end, or?
We won by 2 or 3, yeah. I think I was aiming for a point, but about 50 yards out.
Good man, and it went in the net. That's the main thing.
I think he put a bit of tough spin on it, like TJ as we're trying to do this day. So it was a long range free. I can remember it well. Like, it was kind of a dividing score between both teams. I think it was 117-17 or something. So.
Yeah, well, the same day I had stitches in the finger. You know, maybe I didn't hit the ball like I would normally hit.
You had a few stitches in the finger going out. Not a bother, Ger. Hardy out. Just Sean, your father Paddy would have been involved in the co-founding of the club. What do you remember about that?
I remember the 3 key men that time was Kevin Fennelly, my father, and Sean Welsh. The 3, I remember now, the 3 of them now. You know, when we got the pitches, we had to plough them, and there was stones. The 3 lads, the 3 men, they were shoving on in years at the time. They were down every morning, noon and night, picking stones, trying to level that field. And, you know, just them 3 people, I have to hand it at that really, you know, were at the back of it, they wanted a hurling. We had no hurling pitch. So, you know, that was their goal before they ended their lives, that we have our own hurling pitch in the field, and that's what they achieved.
Well said, Sean. And Sean, I remember when I was going like underage, under 14, under 16, you seemed to be always there training the underage. You always got the job. And I think you're still involved, is that right? Why do you always come back for more hardship?
I suppose I love the game, it's as simple as that, and I love being involved with youngsters. You know, it gives me a great kick to see, you know, youngsters coming down to the field training, and I just love to be involved with the youngsters. You know, it keeps me going as well.
Very good, Sean. Now, just Henry, back to you there. I mean, of all the players I've played with over the years, there's no doubt you're the most 100% committed player. Dedication.
Crankiest as well. Go on, say it.
The referees might agree with that, but you always give 100%, and I always kind of, you know, when I finished, I was still looking at you. I said, Jesus, where do you get your motivation from? How do you keep going?
Well, I think it's because of where we're from, you know, and Ned spoke brilliantly there at the beginning, you know, and I think the video encapsulates it. There's no magic to it, and I think I said a few words. It's about hard work. It's about hard work. Like, obviously, we're the players that are sitting up here on the stage tonight, but it's the hard work that Sean, the 3 men they spoke about, standing in the field, a ploughed field, picking the stones. It's about the development committee here that's part of it here tonight, who probably haven't played and haven't won All-Irelands and haven't been man of the matches in All-Irelands. They're the people that make us successful. They're the reason why TJ and Mick and Colin and Joey can go out and do what they do with the county team. So it's that reason alone, and it's brilliant to be here tonight. We had Bob's 40th there. I know you were missing Sunday night, so you were. I don't understand why. All right, sorry, you're allowed. But like, I just went home from Bob's 40 and I said, Jesus, isn't it brilliant? And everyone said it was a great night. Why was it a great night? Because the whole community was in Andy's. It probably doesn't happen as much now. So when I was growing up, these lads were coming back to Ballyhale, back to my pub, creating memories. We used to go down to the field. We used to go up to Holden's shop. We used to hang around the street. That's gone now. That's all gone. The street is derelict. So people wonder why we should be doing something like this. It's because the community, because those kids go down to the field. I have my own lads down there, and you get to meet people. And I think if we can create something, and all the people in this room can create something, that we have a focal point of the community, I think that'll just stand us the test of time. And it's the generations of the men that went before us, all the great men you've spoken about, you know, they've created what we have. So it's up to us to create something for the future, I think, you know.
Hear, hear. Well said, Henry. So just, there was a very good piece, Henry, recently I was listening to. It was an interview you did, and it was basically based on your last year involved, and I know myself from sitting on the bench, it could be very frustrating, but you turned it into something really positive. You know, you said that's actually very useful now when I'm managing teams, because you know how lads kind of feel on the bench and stuff. So could you just elaborate a little bit on that? It was very good now, I thought. I don't know what interview it was, but it was...
You asked the hard questions, of course, yeah. And I remember distinctly us having a conversation just across the road, your last year there, and you probably weren't happy. So, like, that's... But it's a learning curve. So I think I learned that, you know, you still put in the effort. And like, I have lads this year with Ballyhale, and we all probably have had, and Sean has as well in the minor team, that probably won't be playing. But it's those players you need to come with you on the journey. As Kilkenny look forward to the championship this year, it's about the panel of players. Like, you know, week in, week out, Kilkenny are going to have 16, 17, 18 players. There's another 15 or 16 on the panel, and they're going to be so important for the rest of the championship. So I think I learned a lot, and, you know, it's great to get that mindset of, you know, not playing. How do you feel? And keeping those players happy in a unified camp is very, very important.
Very good. And just as regards to management, Henry, like, did you plan on going straight into management from playing, or did it just happen?
I think it just kind of happened, to be honest, because I didn't plan, and I went back last year. I was really looking forward. I was in good shape, and I just hurt my knee again, and it never came right, and it's still not right to this day. So I just said to myself, I just couldn't go through that. I love training, I love playing, I love competing, but I just couldn't. And obviously John arrived up on my door and asked me would I be interested in getting involved, and you know, it was always something I wanted to do. I didn't plan it the year after I'd retired, but look, it just happened, and sometimes an opportunity comes up, it's hard to say no to it, so delighted to get involved.
Oh, fair play, and best of luck for the year, Henry, and all the lads.
We might get you back.
I will see, we'll see. Just as a final question over to Ger. Ger, would you have many, like, what would be your highlight of all the successful years with the Ballyhale Shamrocks team? I know you won Club All-Irelands, you won county finals. Could you pinpoint maybe one or two highlights from your successful career? Absolutely, oh, absolutely. So, folks, would you please put your hands together for our three guests here: Sean Reid, Henry, Ger Fennelly. Now, I know we have, you know, we've had a very successful hurling club, and I suppose with that goes the Camogie as well. The Camogie have had huge success over the years as well, and we've a few members here tonight just to have a quick chat. We have Anne Holden here. Anne is Joey's aunt, obviously, and Anne is 5 All-Irelands. So maybe, Anne, would you be able to tell us about maybe some of the highlights over the years, or any memories you have at all?
Well, I suppose my first highlight would have been winning a junior county final with the Shamrocks. and I had 3 sisters on the team, so it was really nice, like, to win with all your friends, family, and like we had great times, like. And then another year we bet Carrickshock, and that was some highlight.
Beat Carrickshock.
Beat Carrickshock. The 4 holdings were late getting to the match, and Pat Mulrooney lit us. But by God, we went out and won, and we were the best ever then after the match. So it was really, that was some highlight.
That was a highlight. Thanks a million, Anne. That was very good. And just on to Kiva Fennelly. Kiva, I suppose you've many great memories growing up watching your dad hurling. Can you remember him hurling even?
I suppose the only time I remember him hurl is probably the over 40s with Kilkenny. I suppose we have great memories from them games. Myself and Jared would have been brought to every training session in Kilkenny and to all the games throughout the country. So no, that's probably my biggest memory of him hurling.
And with the Camogie team, then you've had some, great recent success. I suppose what great memories can you take from your career?
I suppose club-wise, I suppose our biggest memory is probably winning the intermediate county final there a few years ago, and getting to Croke Park to support the community here. But unfortunately, on the day, it ended up in a draw and went to a replay. But the luck wasn't on our side for the replay. I suppose playing along Jackie and seeing the achievements Jackie has throughout the years, and I suppose going on and playing with Kilkenny in the intermediate final 2 years ago, winning on the day and watching the seniors going on to win again, I suppose it's probably one of our biggest achievements to date.
Well said, Kiva. And just over to Jackie there. Jackie, you've been involved with Ballyhale and Kilkenny. I suppose, what would you think would be the main difference between, training with Ballyhale and then going in with Kilkenny? Is there a big difference, or how would you find that?
Yeah, I suppose it's definitely a big difference, all right. Commitment-wise with Kilkenny, but it's always great to come back and play with your club and, play with the girls you're playing for years, so that's a big thing.
And your personal highlight over the years, would you have one in particular?
Definitely winning the county final with Ballyhale in a couple of years ago in intermediate, and beating Pilton that day was a great day, and then playing Leinster final and playing Croke Park, and I suppose winning the senior Ireland a few years ago, 2 years ago, and then having my sister Edel play as well and Kiva as well alongside, and winning the intermediate as well was a great day for the Shamrocks.
Well said, Jackie. Just want to move on to. Have we Neddy Welsh here? Is Neddy Welsh? Oh, Neddy, you're right in front of me. Neddy, I saw an old photo of you recently. You hurled with October down through the years, and I suppose when you were hurling, first of all, where did you hurl before the Ballyhale pitch was developed?
We hurled it down in Frank Hollands there. That was where the pitch was that time. We hurled some, well, where the present pitch is now. We done some of the hurling there as well.
And had you ever a dressing room or anything, or did you tug out in the ditch, or how did you manage, Neddy?
I don't know dressing room that time tonight. Tug out in the ditch.
Out in the ditch.
Cars.
Cars or nothing. I was just wondering, Henry's even here, and Henry suffered, double ligament, crucial ligament damage and injuries over the years. Just back then, was there any such thing as a crucial ligament, or it just wasn't diagnosed, or were lads cycling bikes the whole time? Did lads get injured badly back then, or what was it like?
Well, sure, some people got bad knees, they'd say, and had to give it up. But I had Paddy Buggy on the radio back some years ago, and he says the only place you'd hear of a hamstring that time was in a bacon factory. You'd find one.
So basically, you're calling Henry soft, are you?
A lot of people had to give it up. They got bad knees and couldn't, and they weren't doing crucial ligaments like now.
Only messing, Eddie. Also, I just want to talk. Is Frank Cummins down here? Frank. Now, my father Ned, he said he would have hurled with you, and he said you're probably the best player of his era, and I think you he calculated it there today. I think you hurled for the guts of 20 years, or 18 or 20 years. And I think that's the same longevity as Henry, actually. 18 years, around that. Is that correct?
Well, the first thing I want to say anyway is thanks for the invite here. And it's an honour to be here. And I am very pleased to be here. It is true, Ned was my partner in the minor final of 65. And, you know, without him, I don't think we'd have won the county final there in the 65 county final. And he was also my partner in the minor, in the junior final. We played Galmai. And I remember Tommy Welch was the fullback. God be with him. Tommy has passed away now there last year. And Tommy told me after the combination of our ages, I was 18 and Ned was only 17. And Big Tommy was 35. I just couldn't believe it.
I think that says a lot, all right?
Yeah, we're going back a few years now. We're going back a few years anyway. And I suppose I'll have to tell you another small story. I was in the club in Blackrock a few years ago. And there was this Kilkenny man from Glenmore. And he was having a hot and heavy with a Cork man, arguing about who was the best players and whatever. But anyway, the Kilkenny man was being beaten. I could see it anyway, but he came up with this classic anyway, and he said, last week I was up in Kilkenny anyway, and I was driving in the car up around by road off Kiltarkin anyway. And he said, I got a puncture anyway. And he went into the local turbine to get repaired. And he said anyway, when he investigated anyway, what the problem was, and this is a great, you know, how so many All-Irelands is here in the Shamrocks club. He said, you won't believe, he said to the boys, he said, what did I find stuck in the tyre when you an All-Ireland medal?
Very well said, Frank, and we're delighted to have you here tonight. You're very welcome. We just must, a quick mention for our managers, let's say, I'm after seeing Michael Fenley here. He was manager of the club team, and was it 010, Michael, with McGarry?
That's right, yeah.
I've memory of the start of that year. McGarry came in, I'd say it was the first meeting in whatever, January or February, or first training, and in arrives Keith Murphy. He's only on the junior team or whatever. So Keith arrives in this big flash Audi, you know, and he steps out of the car anyway, and McGarry was looking at him, and McGarry said in his towny accent, hey, do you think you're in Stamford Bridge or what? So Michael, before Michael in 07 we would have had Maurice Elward. You teamed up with McGarry, and I suppose a very successful partnership, Michael.
Yeah, it was he lost the semi-final that year to Port Tumna, and then things weren't going right, and there was rumours about management stepping down and stuff, and all in all, within maybe 2 months or so, there was a new management, then it happened, and then McGarry, I went in with McGarry and we got Brendan Mason, that was it. So we started from there and played the championship, we got through and won the county final that year, and then we're into a club championship. And we got to the final, and then in the semi-final, the Cork crowd, the Connors won by 2 points, lucky enough that day. We're now in All-Ireland, and I was happy to win, because you're always better off scraping through a semi-final, because if you win 10 or 12 points, you're good favourites, so it suited us. And of course, we come up against Port Tumna again. And fair play to the lads, they were all tuned in, hurled well, and we got another All-Ireland club title.
And I suppose it was said that yourself and McGarry always picked a team, and Brendan Mason never got a look in. Is that true?
Once again, I'm here in the village of Ballyhale.
Is Mason here, no? Thanks for that, Michael. Well said. Now, we have a lot of people in the audience, but we can't get around to everyone. A lot of former hurlers and stuff. I just want to talk to my own father here for a second. And I'm just going to ask my own father, who is the best hurler he has seen, let's say, pre-Shamrocks, before the Shamrocks in his time?
there was a whole host of unsung heroes during that period, but I'd say 3 names comes to mind immediately. Dennis Heaslip, Pat Carroll, and of course Frank Cummins that you've spoken about there. Dennis Heaslip, to me, was the DJ Carey when I was a boy. No doubt in the world about that. Every team that Kilkenny played tried to man-mark Dennis Heaslip at that time, to no avail because of his sheer pace and style. He left him for dead. And if those defenders did actually make contact, it would be fairly serious because there were different rules then. There were plenty blood and broken hurleys, I suppose, and as well as that, there were no such thing as helmets at that stage. So that's how good Dennis Heaslip was.
Very good. Now, I was actually in Heaslip's today, and I was asking Dennis, would you say a few words or that, and he's just so modest. He said he declined to talk, so, but I think it's very appropriate that he is mentioned here tonight. The father thinks he was the DJ Carey of his time, so I mean, I think that